hatred is an evil that is at the root of many of today's problems. That hatred is evident both in self-loathing and in the way in which people interact with others. Hatred is not the absence of love. It is the extreme negative end of the same spectrum of emotion. Where love unifies, hatred divides. Where love brings peace and prosperity, hatred brings chaos and poverty. That is not to say that all who have disorganization or lack in material goods do so because of hatred. For there are unfortunate circumstances in life. But what that is to say is that hatred is a primary cause of disorder in the human life, in the world, and in the universe in which you live. Hatred is a promoter of jealousy and disparity. When you hate, it is not possible to fully realize your own potential. Instead of climbing upward, you seek to hold others down. To be above, you do not rise to the stars, but rather push others down to the depths of hell. That is hatred. Hatred is war. Hatred is seeking more when more is not needed. Hatred is evil. It is interesting that when you think of love and you think of the ideals that would come through government and governing, and you think of hatred, and you think of the ideals that could come through love and the government and governing, you realize that there are extremes, but how these manifest are very different. For example, in tribal life, you will see that there is often a community spirit of cooperation. This is necessary when you look at only a small unit of people for that band or tribe of people to survive. It is a sort of love, a sort of unity that stokes a type of communism where everything is owned and done in common, because it is the only way that the tribe, that small band of humanity can survive. Yet hatred, jealousy over others who have more, is in larger societies what stokes communism. And this is a destructive force where people want more, but they want it without earning it, and thus they try to repress those who have, and take away from them, thus creating communism as a form of government, not just for survival, but as a way of equalizing. And that equanimity truly is rather a destruction of the ability to reach forward. For they hold back those who would reach forward in order to be equal. And this creates an issue. If we think of this in terms of education, people have different faculties and abilities. But if you try to make everyone equal educationally, the ultimate result is, in a capitalist society, those who are ignorant buy an education, but they never develop the mental facilities to use that education, because you can't buy mentality, you can't buy mental agility. And if you look in the capitalist world, you see the result of that when it reaches to the very epitome of your leadership. It is destructive beyond measure. And if you look at communism and think about this same thing, then you see that simply saying, oh, everybody is equal and everyone has equal capabilities is not true. Even communistic governments have had to realize and admit that there are those who are more capable of leadership. There are those who are more capable of mental agility and of thought and of science. So when you look at this, you see how many things are manifest by jealousy and how many things come as hatred. Governments, wannabe governments like ISIS try to build, simply grab land and build. But it does not make them a legitimate government. It just makes them evil. But if you are bigger like China, why do you try to grab land? What do you gain by saying, we want this that was part of us 300 years ago, or we want this that belonged to some other little kingdom that was integrated into our kingdom 500 years ago? The world is constant change, and peoples are constant change. And governments, well, they're not there to serve the government. There is no chunk of land that when you look down upon it from space says United States of America, Great Britain, China, or Hong Kong. No. When you look down from space, what do you see? We see a blue marble that looks like a hazy agate of beauty. We see one people, one race running about. But you think, oh, we will build our nation great, we will claim this, we will claim that. Some fools would even think, oh, we will make a great monument. We'll carve something into a mountain and call it Rushmore. Oh, do you think those faces will last an eternity? Do you think the face of the Sphinx is what was there originally? Are you really that foolish? And what if it lasts? What if something lasts even for a few thousand years? the names of great people. Oh, what? You think Nero or Julius, the Caesars? What do you know of them? Because their name seems to have lasted. What of great religious leaders, Buddha or Jesus? Buddha wasn't even his name. It is a title given, meaning the knower or one who knows. What of Jesus? Oh, the great man, the Son of God, the self-realized living incarnate. Jesus isn't even a name that existed. All you have is the name that came from a mispronunciation of an alternate spelling. From the Hebrew Yeshua. So, what can we say of you trying to expand borders? Oh, Russia, you would grab another little piece of land. Be real. You'll never grab any land. You'll die and rot in a grave just like everybody else, Mr. Putin. That's just the way it is. And if you are remembered for 100 years or 1,000 years, you'll still be dead and no one will really know you. And none of these foolish things you have sought for will matter, because all that you have and all that you will ever have is the personal life, the experiential existence of the now. All of the other stuff, all of the other things, these things, they are meaningless, and they are the result of hatred, of jealousy, of evil. Because ultimately, you are having to repress others to climb to your state of glory. If you really wanted to do something glorious, you would lift others up. But when you divide, when you say, my country, and seek to infringe upon others, you're actually limiting yourself. God is without limits. Love is without limits. But hatred is a wall that is built. And then you try to make that wall bigger because you realize you have enclosed yourself. You want to expand. But expanding that wall only makes the wall bigger and only makes you smaller. That is the essence of hatred. We leave you with blessings and with peace. Go forth and love.